Hey everybody, I just had to check back in. I just had a wild experience. I attempted to get this person on as an interview while we were walking and talking, but I don't know that she's a 90-year-old woman. I don't know that she necessarily understands YouTube 100%, just generationally. She knew what it was after I said it a couple of times, but it's not something she was interested in doing. But I'm fairly confident, without saying her name or giving up any of her, too much of her information, which I don't know, so I can't do it. I could tell what little of her story I got. So, for those of you who are carnivores, which I'm assuming most of you, if not all of you, are doing some version of carnivore. Whether you're adding things in at this point, or you're still at the phase where you're subtracting things, or if you're like me and trying to be as strict as possible. Trying to be strict, that's really the answer, on a regular basis. It becomes hard to believe in the medical science anymore and doctors. And I want to put this in a way that's not offending to them. Because although I do believe in good and evil, I don't believe that the doctors are evil. I believe that the information that they are forced to work under. You know, we all have bosses, we all have interested parties in our businesses or whatever the case is. We have people we have to answer to. Doctors are no different. They have to answer to their CEOs and their, CFOs and their bean counters, or they have to answer to the doctor who owns the practice, or there's somebody along the line they have to answer to, and those people that they're answering to have to meet a budget line. They have to bring in X amount of money to make the business worth having, and that trickles down to the doctors. If the doctors aren't making the money the way the practice wants them to, well, I'm pretty sure they won't be doctors anymore. And it's a little spooky because, and this is just my belief, I've come to believe that the system is broken. It's based more on prescriptions and the financial end of it than it is curing and helping people. And not to say these doctors aren't trying, but I've heard of that of very specific doctors' mouths that they can't do what they want to do in the doctor's office because of guidelines set by companies that are profit-based. Let's just leave it at that. So, that being said, I made a video earlier, I'm sure you've seen it by now, that I couldn't get my run in. And I was really disappointed. I really was. But my whole life I've always said, things happen for a reason. There's no such thing as coincidence. I'm a strong believer in karma. I believe if you put good out there, good comes back to you. If you put evil out there, evil comes back to you. In one way, shape, or form or another. So, I try to live the best life I can. I try to be good to people. I try to lead with my heart. It doesn't always work out. Sometimes I get hurt. Sometimes I don't know. I don't necessarily hit the mark 100%. But that being said, I came off the field, walked onto the track. I made it about 15 steps. And I said good morning to a woman a little older than me. And then what I'm assuming is her mother or aunt or something. The woman a little older than me was in his 60s, and the older of the two women was 91 years old. And I'll tell you how I came across that. So I said good morning to them, and we had some pleasantries exchanged, and just organically a conversation started. Now the conversation lasted over 4 minutes. The woman had some severe health issues, and she's on the road to recovery. So this is her story, the best I can remember it. At some point, her son would have her get up and walk with her. They would come to this track that I'm on around the pond, and they would walk, 1 or 2 times around, maybe a mile, maybe 2, and that would be it for her. Keep in mind, she's 91 years old at this point. That's a solid walk, in my opinion, of a typical 91, standard American 91-year-old person, based on what you see. People at 91 years old generally aren't getting out and about. Usually they're starting to degrade at a rampant pace, because of the dietary issues or whatever the case is. I have my own little belief system on that as well. I'll discuss that another time. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole with me. So she's doing the walks with her son, and on a Tuesday she has what she feels like complete body pain. She's never had it before. She really struggled with the walk, and then went home. No, she had the complete body pain, and it lasted for a few minutes, and then it just stopped. So she got home. She talked to her son. Her son's like, "Mom, why don't we go to the doctors? Let's just go. We'll get you checked out." God bless him for having the presence of mind to say something's not right. You shouldn't be, pain shouldn't come. An onset of pain shouldn't be that significant, and that the onset so fast and then drop off. So, and pay attention, ladies, because there's a moral to this story for you. So he takes her to the doctor. The doctor talks to her. He does whatever checkup he wants to do. Tells her, "Do you feel like you're miserable? You're in pain?" She said, "No." He said, "Everything passed?" She said, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, you're fine." And he sent her home. A little while later, she had other symptoms. I don't remember quite what they were, but she decided to go to the hospital. She goes to the hospital. They run a couple of tests. Next thing she knows, she's being airlifted to another hospital. I'm being very cagey about the hospitals because I really don't want to give up this woman's much more than her age. So her words, "Then I got a free helicopter ride to such and such hospital." Now, I can't imagine that at 91 years old, no matter what your health condition is, that is an experience that you want behind you. Well, in front of you. A doctor telling you not only are you in dire need of medical attention, it's so bad, we got to put you in a helicopter because the ambulance isn't going to get you there fast enough. A vehicle with lights and sirens that could drive as fast as it wants to and go through as many lights and stop signs as it wants can't get you there fast enough. So we got to put you in a vehicle that flies over all of that to get you to a hospital that's capable of dealing with what you got going on. Now, mind you, I know you don't know what happened to her yet. So, keep in mind, on Tuesday, she had the symptoms. On Wednesday or Thursday, I think she went to the doctor. And then on Friday, she's at the hospital. And now she's being airlifted to another hospital. So why do they need to airlift her to the other hospital? Because that all over body pain that she felt when she was walking with her son, geese are hissing at me again. The all over body, another hisser, 2 hissers, 3 hissers. I'm not here to bother you guys. I'm sorry, I don't mean to stress you out. Sorry guys, these guys are awesome. I can't get enough of them. So, the all over body pain that she was feeling was a heart attack. Now, rewind a little bit. She had the all over body pain, and she went to her doctor. He told her she's fine. He sent her home. He sent her home. After a 91-year-old woman came in complaining of sudden onset pain and sudden release of pain. And he sent her home. Never did an EKG, never checked her out. Now, I have my beliefs in that. Maybe he thought, well, she's 91, things are going to hurt. That's BS, if that's what he was thinking. Or maybe he thought, well, I'm not going to drag this poor 91-year-old woman through all this stress and aggravation over something that's not bothering anymore. More BS. That poor woman's family could be standing over a casket right now if she didn't have the presence of mind, and her son didn't have the presence of mind to go to the hospital. After a doctor already told her, if I go to a doctor in my old frame of mind, and I get everything checked out after having some kind of problem, and he tells me I'm fine, you're not talking me into going to a hospital. I'm fine. The doctor just told me that. she went. Man, I can't even imagine the strength that is. To say, yeah, I'm just going to put myself in a hospital just to make sure. I've had 1,000 situations where I probably should have did it and I never did. So now she's 91 and a heart attack survivor. And where she was walking around this track 2 to 4 times a day, 2 to 4 laps a day, she did probably 1,500 feet of the track and had to go back. Now, I'm not knocking that. She's doing it. She's getting up, and she was on a cane. She was physically struggling with everything she had, and she saw actually this crack in the cement that I'm coming up and called that as her finish line. Now, could it be because she didn't want me, some strange guy, talking to her about her personal history? Maybe. But I wasn't drilling her for questions. I asked her if she would do an interview with me, and she passed. And that's fine, you know? It's a personal thing, and I know what that feels like because I did it. But my point is, how in the world did she get to that level? How did somebody not pick up on it, especially when she went to the doctors complaining already? So women, I'm going to tell more of the story, but women, heart attacks don't present on women like they do on men. Men generally clutch their chest, shortness of breath. They have very similar signs. Men have the signs you see in the movies. That's what men see. Women, I mean, that's the first time I ever heard of full body pain. But a lot of times you'll feel a pain in your jaw, a pain in your neck, back pain. It can present similar, but it usually presents very differently, and it gets waved off as it's just whatever. You know, I chewed my steak too hard, or you know, I must have slept wrong, so my neck hurts. Pay attention to these signs, and if you really think something's wrong, and a doctor's telling you you're fine, go see another doctor. Go to a hospital. Tell them you want more tests. Say, look, no, I'm not fine. Something's wrong. I never felt like this before. I want to know why I felt like this now. So that's my my little public service message as far as that goes. But like I said, so this woman, she had a heart attack, rushed to the hospital. They do whatever care. She didn't go into great detail on that. Whatever care is necessary to be able to send her home. Now she's walking, instead of 4 miles, she's walking 1,000 feet. But what she said to me is, she believes, and she's sure she's not wrong, that had her son not got her up and got her walking every day, she wouldn't have survived that heart attack. Especially, I mean, for me, under the circumstances the way everything went down. You know, the fact that she was sitting around for 4 days after a heart attack without any medical treatment, any medical attention, is incredible. So, well, that's the story. I am now very thankful. I am not disappointed at all that I didn't get to do that walk, because meeting that woman was not only an amazing experience, it was inspirational on a level that I can't explain. Especially because I started this whole journey. I started this whole carnivore journey, this whole fitness journey. Everything I did as far as carnivore was to evade what I thought was an upcoming heart attack. If you saw my video with Dave Mack, you heard me talk about it. I had some weird symptoms, shortness of breath, trouble going up and down stairs, elevated heart rate under any circumstances, whether I was sitting still or moving, worse if I was moving, and dizziness when I was bending over. And the idea of leaving my son behind was unacceptable. I'll get into that whole story. I think I'm going to sit down and make a long version video about my whole health journey. For those of you who've seen Dave Mack, you've seen probably everything there is to see, but there is I'm sure some details that you'll pick up in the newer videos. But it's emotional and it's tough for me to do, so I got to build up to it. I didn't expect it to be so emotional. I did the story with Dave Mack, and it takes a lot out of me. So give me some time. I'll put that together. I have a few other ideas I want to do. I definitely still want to do a beef jerky video. I just have to work into my budget. It's a different type of meat that I use, and I have to work that into my budget. So that's the story, guys. listen, I know you don't know this woman's name. I know you don't know anything about her. But if you believe in prayer, please say a prayer for this woman. You know, she's doing everything in her power to stay fit. I unfortunately didn't have the opportunity to talk to her about carnivore in that short distance. So keep her in your prayers. And as always, stay focused on your health, stay focused on your way of eating, and be well.